Alright, hi everybody. So today we're going to be doing a video on volunteers. And I have these awesome volunteer tomatoes. I can't tell if they're the cherry tomato variety or the beefsteak, but I think they're cherry because they look kind of small. But yeah, it's doing very, very good. It's got really good green growth. There's one right here. There's also one right here. And I do notice that the volunteers always seem to be the healthiest looking ones, and I don't know why. And then I also have some volunteer tomatoes back here that I'm going to be training up this trellis here. And then I have some more tomatoes over here. And mind you, all of these tomatoes are coming up with the compost that have been added to amend the soil here. And so it's always fun to see what comes up, because I mean, I grew a variety of tomatoes last year. These could be anything. Here's another one, which I also need to stake these up. And then there's another one, two more, and I'm just going to let them grow with my fig. I think that they'll do quite well together. This one is definitely not a cherry tomato. That's a really big blossom. In fact, I should probably take that off because it looks like it'll get cat-faced. So, pinch that off. This one, I'm not sure yet. The comfrey is doing really good. So these are more volunteers. I have, I'm not quite sure what they are, but they're in the section where I had golden raspberries before, which are my favorite raspberries. They're so good. So hopefully these are that variety. And then it looks like I have a spearmint grown up as well. And you probably know, if you've ever had mint, once you plant it in the ground, you will have it forever coming up everywhere. So, but it just smells so good. I have such a hard time pulling it out. These are more volunteers here, these raspberries. Just growing right out of the holes in the cinder blocks. One more at the end down there too. I mean, all these really, these were all volunteers. Everything outside the cinder blocks. And you can see what they turned into. This awesome archway of raspberries. More volunteers. And these are really nice looking healthy plants too. And all of these cilantro volunteers, and look at all these awesome free flowers that I got. The bugs love them, I love them. They're pretty to look at. They're just very airy and feathery, and they wave in the wind and they glisten in the sun, and they're edible. Totally edible. They're good. They taste just like cilantro. You can pick these flowers and sprinkle them on your salads. You can put them in your tacos. You can put them in your burritos. You can put them sprinkled on top of your chili. They look actually really similar to these sedum flowers. Just like little stars. These are all volunteers. More thyme, creeping thyme. Oh, well, hi there, Mr. Jinx. These are Sweet William. These are all volunteers as well, and they're mixed in with the creeping Jenny, which I never planted, and of course all this creeping thyme. Of course, whenever you see a strawberry plant that's not actually up in a strawberry bed, it's a volunteer. And there's thousands of them here, and they're everywhere. And I didn't get to my chives in time, so I'm going to have a whole bunch of volunteers right around here next year as well, or later on this year, because look, all kinds of little seeds, and they do come up. Don't take much. All this is volunteer, all this purple thyme. It's even coming in through the other side underneath the bench. Cat likes to lay underneath there. Lemon balm, I didn't plant that. Well, hi. Hi. Hey, buddy. How you doing? You see something? What'd you see? This is probably one of my favorite spots in the whole garden, because you can walk barefoot right on top of it. No splinters. It's nice and soft. While we're over here, volunteer nasturtium with super pretty coral flowers, which are completely edible, minus the fly. I don't need my protein that bad. These are kind of peppery though. The little flowers are definitely peppery. They got kind of a cool shape to them. They got that like long thing at the end. Taste this one. Oh, wow. Oof. Oh. Wow. I'll tell you what, man, the young ones are, whew. Oh my goodness. I just ruined my mouth mojo. That was extremely peppery and strong. Now I know not to eat the super young budded ones. I'll wait till they get more mature. So I'm actually gonna pick this and chew on it, because I need to fix what I just did. Look at that, just full of moisture. Still super tender, and we're like almost in the middle of July. Everything's really really tender and juicy still, for the things that should have kind of been on their way out. I'm hoping to see a comeback on this. This is my jalapeno, and it kind of got crowded out by all the volunteer potatoes that came up around it and kind of snuffed it out, and I've since then harvested those. No, I didn't actually. I just pulled the tops off because I didn't want to disturb the roots of the jalapeno trying to get the potatoes out. That's right. So I'll keep you in the loop on how this one does, and I gave it a splash of liquid fertilizer today. Here's another foxglove that just blew in with the wind. Oh, and volunteer parsley as well, and all that lemon balm back there. All this creeping thyme. Mind you, the only spot that I actually planted this purple thyme in my garden is right there, right in the corner cinder block square, and that was it. And then it, of course, it just kept on going and going and going. Jumped over to the other side, kept on going, and then, as you can see, oh, was that a splinter? Huh? Yeah, it's everywhere. Even down to the voluntary pansy. Fruit and flowers. I can grow here all they want. Here's some nasturtiums that decided to pop up on their own. Right in my raspberry patch. More Green Mountain oregano. And this too. This got really big. It's a really good sized patch. More over here with some creeping Jenny. I actually got this nasturtium from the compost bin. It was sprouting up in the compost bin, and I moved it over to here in my beets. These are thimbleberries. These are volunteers as well. They're just native to this area, so that looks kind of weird. And this here volunteered itself, as well as the succulents, the creeping Jenny. And like, for instance, you know, when I didn't obviously plant this here, but I don't mind if it grows here. It'll actually look quite nice filling in this space. Cat balm. And it has awesome yellow flowers, and it's nicer to walk on than splintery bark. Well, I'm eventually going to wood chip over here in this area, which probably be worse actually on my feet when I go barefoot. But it adds green, and yeah, so I let it grow. So, hi Jinx. More volunteers, more oregano, of course. There was a volunteer tomato back here, but I decided to cut it down because it was interfering with the way the sprinkler was hitting the rest of the plants. So I meant to rip it out and it just broke off, so I was, whatever. This is buttercup, and this is blackberry, and these are two things that I definitely don't want. So I'll selectively weed when I see volunteers. Buttercup just takes over everything, and I like to get it out. One really cool thing about creeping Jenny is they put out these long vines, and you can just kind of stick them on the ground wherever, in the direction that you want them to go in. So you can kind of guide them where you want. Like that one's going in with the raspberries. I don't really want it there, so I just gently guide it to where I would want it to go. And we've got some volunteer mullein here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it there because I already have a lot of mullein already, and it's kind of in a, I don't know, it's kind of in a bad spot, but I haven't quite decided yet, so I haven't pulled it out. More creeping Jenny, dandelions. I know they're medicinal and I probably shouldn't pull them out, but I think they're super bitter, and I actually don't eat them or make tea out of them or anything like that, even though I probably should. And then you get the volunteers that the critters plant for you. Obviously this one got into some birdseed, and it got some of the sunflowers and hid them for later, and they sprouted, and here they are. But I love sunflowers, so hopefully they'll make it. And then they can be my chipmunk sunflowers. Are you enjoying that? Is that good stuff? See if I can get a better angle here. Carry on. Usually he has these plants demolished, but this one's actually withstood him this year. He would literally, when it was first starting to sprout, he would get up here and just roll right on top of it and just decimate it, lick it all down to nothing. He's 4 years old. We rescued him from the local humane society. What a life. This would be a volunteer cilantro. Just decided to grow here, and I love cilantro so much. I was like, oh yeah, and I love the flowers, and the pollinators love them, and so I was like, oh, it's a win-win. And then this thing was also a volunteer as well, and I'm not quite sure what it is yet. I'm thinking, you know, from the looks of it, it's probably a pumpkin. They seem to be pretty trailing plants versus zucchini. So, oh look. Oh yeah, so definitely some sort of pumpkin, I'm thinking, or I don't know, maybe like a gourd or squash, possibly. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted. More volunteers here. This is mullein, which is a super medicinal plant. You can smoke it for benefits for your lungs, believe it or not. You can use the leaves as a tea. You can use the leaves as a poultice for like healing sprains and things like that. Scrapes, bruises. You can use it as toilet paper if you have to. It's super soft. It's like a lamb's ear. And so yeah, I got all kinds of them. There's one there, one there, more down there, and they're just so fuzzy. Volunteer foxglove. We get these all over. These are native to Washington. And of course all this creeping succulents and stuff like that, that's just all the freebies. I just threw it on the ground wherever I want to cover up the ground, and it grows. It's all filling in right here too. I just kind of sprinkled it everywhere. Volunteer tomato. Don't know what that's going to be yet. I'm kind of excited to find out. More volunteer cilantro. And of course more volunteer mullein and thyme, actually. I just love the creeping thyme, how it turns purple and gets those purple flowers, and the bees love it. So I welcome it wherever I see it, and then when it's coming up for free, because it's something that I didn't need to spend any money on, and it's gonna give me benefit. Pretty cool. Of course, all these strawberries are all volunteers as well. More volunteer oregano. That's actually a special breed of oregano. It came from a place called Green Mountain, which is just right up the street from me. And there's a photographer for National Geographic magazine that lived up there and ran like a little farm to table type of garden, and would sell his specialty greens to local restaurants and things like that. And that was a strain off of his oregano, so I call it Green Mountain oregano. These, once again, are all... These aren't necessarily volunteers. I mean, I just kind of had extras and threw it down and splashed some water on it and just kind of hoped for the best. And I knew they would live. Because I've seen how, what's the word? How vigorous they are, I guess, and really stand up to bad situations. This is thyme, and it does creep, but it's a different kind than that purple stuff. It's actually really cool. It's what's considered a steppable, and then some succulents mixed in, 2 different kinds of succulents. Pretty cool.